Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire. I'm so glad you could be here today. So, today's video is a little bit self-indulgent. As you've seen by the title, we're talking about my favorite author, Jane Austen, and today I'm bringing you another pseudo review. Similar to my Goodbye to Berlin review, this is not so much a pros and cons, totally unbiased kind of look at a book. This is just one of my favorite books that I want to talk to you, pitch to you, and encourage you to check out. From the pantheon of classic literature. I use air quotes because who really knows what classic literature means? It's like the most undescriptive term for a book. But yeah, I'm excited to bring this video to you, and I'm excited to share this book with you. As you may or may not have seen in my other Jane Austen video, I really love her novel Pride and Prejudice, but today we're talking about a later book which is not, in her top most popular ones, Pride and Prejudice, Emma, Sense and Sensibility. This one is one of the background ones, a later one, and one that I think is super smart and just really pushes everything that she did so well really to its max. So yeah, without any further ado, the book that I'll be talking about today is the absolutely wonderful 1817 novel by Jane Austen, Persuasion. This is my Oxford World Classics edition with this fabulous little Regency portrait on the cover. I also have it in a 1970s Penguin English Library edition, the yellow back. A great little seaside English image on the cover there in pink. This book is really fabulous. Like I said, published in 1817, it was published posthumously after Jane Austen had passed away, and the last of her major works to be completed. So the plot of this book, if you are unfamiliar, follows our heroine, Anne Elliot. 7 years after she has turned down the proposal of the man she loves, Captain Wentworth, he returns to her circle of life, and her whole peaceful, idyllic life is kind of turned upside down with this re-entry and the whole cast of characters that kind of change and adapt to him being in town. Takes place predominantly in the English countryside, and then there's also a beach trip to Lyme, which is really exciting. So, what do I love about this book? This book takes everything that Austen does really well and kind of either explores a new angle or takes it to its max, to its best potential. So what are some of the things that I love about Austen's writing? Well, cast of characters. Starting with the heroine, Austen always pays a lot of attention to who she casts in her central role, and Anne Elliot is no exception. She takes a real turn here in writing Anne as someone who's older, someone who's kind of maybe had their Austenian moment 7 years ago and is now in a new place. She's 27, which by Regency standards is practically a spinster. She has little to no options really, and she's someone who gave up on her personal dream, her love, for the sake of her family. This is really exciting because I think in all of Austen's other main works, all of her heroines are really young. I mean, we're thinking Lizzie Bennet is hardly 20. Emma is incredibly young. The Eleanor and Marianne in Sense and Sensibility are young. Northanger Abbey and Mansfield Park, both of those heroines are young as well. And this one, she's much older, so it's really exciting to see this new angle, and especially given what we know about Austen's life as somebody who had a number of moments in love but never married. It is exciting to read this heroine because there's a lot more melancholy in this book. Someone who's kind of given up on hope that their happy ending will come true. So it's a really exciting place to start, I think, as opposed to some of the other books, which start, with just young, frivolous young women who are looking for love. This is someone who's a little bit more mature, someone who's a little bit more melancholy, who isn't exactly looking for love. They're just looking to get by and do day-to-day things. So that's a really great place to start. The other cast of characters, Austen obviously writes fabulous characters. The rest of Anne's family, the Elliots, Captain Wentworth is a great opposite to Anne, and so many other characters in this book are just quintessential kind of eclectic, eccentric Austenian characters without being over the top or silly or ridiculous. They're totally believable. Their motives are sound, and it just leads to the humor in their characters for being a little over the top. You don't feel like they're just book characters. You really recognize them as people that you know in your real life. Jumping back to Captain Wentworth, a really fabulous male lead protagonist, I guess is the book term. I was using a movie term there. Yeah, I mean, we've had older male protagonists in the past. Mr. Knightley is a lot older than Emma. He's in his mid-30s. Captain Wentworth is a great foil to Anne. He's not over the top. He's not brash. He's just this guy who loved this woman, was scorned, and then has come back many years later to the community where she lives. And, you know, they're trying to seek out if the feelings are the same or what they are and kind of establish some groundworks. So yeah, characters across the board are really, really fabulous. Next thing that I really love about Austen, the pacing. The pacing in a lot of Austen's books, especially her later ones as she's, you know, getting into the rhythm of things, are pretty much note for note perfect. Pride and Prejudice is definitely one that I think there's not a missed beat or anything like that. That book is perfectly paced in my opinion, and this one as well. It's a little slower, but it's a little bit more contemplative. We kind of are entering Anne's slower, more melancholic world, so it would make sense that it is that way, but the excitement is still there. The twists and turns are still right at the right beats, and yeah, it finishes off with a fabulous climax in a way that is not, you know, big and stuff like that, like in Pride and Prejudice, or Sense and Sensibility, you know, where they have big stories that warrant big climaxes. This is a soft-spoken, really thoughtful climax at the end of this book, with probably my favorite declaration of love out of any of the Austen books, and it's just so fitting. Every word in this, every chapter in here is so well put together that yeah, it just makes for a really fun read. It's not a big book either, so it's just chef's kiss. So overall, I think what is so exciting about this book and why I love this one so much is that it has such a unique brand, and kind of more relatable brand of hope than a lot of Austen books do. This one stands apart as having a hope that I feel like more people can relate to, that's a little bit more mature, and that's the idea that hope for the hopeless, that even if you've given up on what seems like your last chance for love, somehow things have a way of working out to get you back to that place again. And that's just such I think a great storyline, and a different one than some of the other ones that we've seen from Austen. We have this character who's totally given up. Pretty much she gave up the man she loves for her family, and now it's a long time later. We're totally away from that situation, and when he returns again, she starts to think, is there an inkling of hope left for me? Am I not hopeless? And yeah, I just think that's so exciting. If you've ever felt, you know, hopeless in love or in anything really, this is just a great little pick-me-up, feel-good book for that. I mean, spoiler, it's not really a spoiler if you've read any of other of Austen's books. It does have a happy ending, but the way that we get there and the emotion that's invested in this book is so fabulous. So yeah, I just think this is the most hopeful Austen book. Yeah, I'm gonna definitively say that I think this is Austen's most hopeful book, for me personally. So yeah, that's the whole video. Just a Jane Austen love fest on Persuasion. I love this book, and I just want other people to read it and hopefully love it as much as I do. If you have read this book, let me know. Talk to me about your favorite character. If you haven't, but you still love Austen, I would encourage you to check this out. If you're looking for an adaptation of it, the only adaptation I've seen of this Persuasion, I know there's quite a few. There's a 2007 one, which apparently is quite good. And there's obviously a new one coming out soon, which I'm keeping my eyes on. I really love the 1995 one. It's a little older. It came out just before the 1995 Pride and Prejudice and the 1995 Sense and Sensibility, but it's a really fabulous adaptation of this book. The acting is really superb, and it looks really great. So I would encourage you to check out the 1995 Persuasion version. I think it was produced by BBC. So yeah, if you like this video, if you like this book, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know your favorite moment in this book, or your favorite Jane Austen heroine, or anything else. And if you're liking the content that I'm creating, subscribe. I upload on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and if you check the description, I also have some of the links to my other social medias, including my Instagram page and my Goodreads page. So check them out and link up with me there. I'd love to chat about books on either of those sites as well. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon, evening, or whatever is going on in your life, and I will see you later. Bye, everybody.